Okay, so we continue back. So this session we look at some example codings from the Python. Python. So now let look at HTTP. Okay, HTTP is another broker, another type of broker. So earlier you learn that there's two broker or protocol. Two types of broker or protocol. Protocol. Protocol means something like communication SOP. Protocol. We have two types. First, we have MQTT. Okay, and then we have HTTP. Okay, these are the software application protocol. So now we look at the HTTP method. This is what we are going to use for our practical later. So we have two here. First, we have client and server. Client means is your handphone or your laptop lah. Let's say you have a handphone here, or maybe your laptop. Okay. So in here you do coding lah. You do Python coding. Okay, Python code, and you run the coding. So what happens here is the Python coding will send request to the server. Okay, so what server we are going to use today? We are going to use Ubidot. Ubidot. These are the server that we will be using today. Ubidot, you have two. You have two functions there. First, you have storage. Okay, you can do storage, you can keep your data and everything, all you can keep inside the storage. Okay, and then you have analytics. As I explained earlier, you can create graph, you can do calculation, and you can do animation, okay, to control the device which is connected to the internet, like a sensor and all this. So how it communicates? This method is very simple. You have two steps: request and response. Okay, request means in your Python code. Python code will ask permission. Okay, so can I send some data, and the server, which is Ubidot, okay, will reply back. Okay, you can send. So it will start sending. Okay, so another example, let's say you have a button here. This is your button. This is your button. You create a button in your Ubidot. So when you press this button, you want the Python code to shut down. Okay, you want the Python code to off. Okay, similar, but the server cannot send request to client. Cannot. Only the client can send request to the server. So how you want to read the button here? So you have to do looping. Let's say the button variable name is button. So you have to make coding looping for, let's say, for how many second? For how many second the code will read the button value from the server. So you also use request. You also send request, means you read the button value every second. You just check every second. If there is any changes here, then it will update to the code. Okay, so that is how it is done, by request, to send data to server and to receive data from the server. Both is done by using request. Okay, so to read the button, I repeat again, you need to do coding with the loop. It will start to, every 1 second it will be reading the button value in the coding there. So in case you press the button, immediately the coding will identify, okay, a button is pressed, and then what happens? You can write in your coding there. Okay, so this is the difference between MQTT and HTTP. Okay, in the HTTP, the server can send a signal. Can I make server? Okay, there's a question. Can I make server function same with Ubidot by itself? Yes, you can make a server function by Ubidot, but it be very complex. Okay, maybe you can make a simple server to read and to calculate data. Maybe simple server can make, but to the extent of making graph and making animation or this, maybe you need some more knowledge on software. So it's a bit complex lah. Okay, but you can try to learn. Yeah, there's a lot of resource in the internet or Google. You can try to learn. If you want to try to create a server, it will be very good. You can learn a lot of things. Okay, so the answer is you can make, you can do, but it is complex. You need to learn some more lah. Need to learn further. Okay, software coding. Other software coding like HTML, okay, JavaScript, and so on. Okay, so that is the answer for that lah. So next, we are going to try a practical. So we are going to use Python coding also. So in order to do the practical, you need to install two libraries. You need to install two libraries. First library is let me share. First library is pip install request. Okay, you have two libraries here. This is the first one. Okay, pip install request. Okay, so you need to make two libraries here. First one is pip install request. Pip install request is for HTTP, used to perform the HTTP request and response. Okay, and then the second library is using PS utility. Okay, this library is used to read the CPU usage. If you open your task manager, you can see that in your laptop itself, you have monitoring, performance monitoring. So under task manager, okay, so you can see here that the CPU, the usage of the CPU is not same. Different. You have different usage of the CPU. Okay, when you run more software, your CPU has more higher usage. When you run less software, it will be less. So we are going to read this. We are going to read this into your Python. Okay, read the CPU usage in the Python and then send the data to Ubidot. From the Ubidot, some switch so that you give warning. Warning if your CPU is higher than certain percentage. You ask the user to shut down your CPU or make it rest and so on. We can do warning from there. Okay, so how to do this? So we start with the simple example first. We are going to use Python idle, like we always do. We are going to use Python idle. Okay, so in order to do this, you need to create a Ubidot account. Okay, you go to Ubidot account here. You sign in. Okay, so you click on the Ubidot website. You will get this. This is the sign-in page. So what you need to do is you create an account. Okay, you click to create an account. When you click create account, it will go to the sign up page. Okay, so they will ask you how would you like to use Ubidot. So we're going to use a free version. So you click here, take me to Ubidot stamp. Okay, Ubidot stamp. And then you can start to create an account. Key in your username, password, and then you just click this one, non-commercial purpose, and then sign up for free. It will log in into the Ubidot account. Okay, so this is example of dashboard. This is called as a dashboard. Dashboard is where you can see all your input and output. You can view from here all your input and output. Whatever input and output that you have already linked to your Ubidot account, you can see from here. In order to get a variable from here, first you need to do coding. You need to do Python coding. Okay, so now let me open up the Python coding. Okay, so if you look at this coding, okay, this is the coding that we are going to send into your Ubidot. First make sure you create account. Make sure first create account. You must create Ubidot account. Create account, and then you have to log in. Make sure you do this first. Ubidot account. And then second, you have to log in before you have to log in. Okay, so and then after that you run your coding. This is a Python coding here. So you need to have the two libraries which I mentioned to you. You need to import request. This one you need to pip install. Okay, because it is not a standard Python library. You need to go to CMD, pip install request, and then you have PS utility. Similar, go to CMD, pip install PS util to make sure the library can be here. You see, there's a name here, token. Token. This is the token here. This is how you link to your Ubidot. Okay. So remember, I asked you to log in, right? You need to be already logged in. So I go back to the Ubidot account. This is my Ubidot account. Okay, Ubidot account. You click on the side here. Okay, click here. Okay, once you click here, you have four items here. My profile, API credentials, and document and logout. Okay, so I need to select API credentials to get token. Okay, so you take mouse and click the API credentials. So you have API, and then you have a token. Okay, and then you have a default token and Ubidot. So what you need to do here you click on the default token here. Click default token here, the default token. And then when you already copy the default token, go back to your coding. Okay, and then you paste your token. Okay, this token you need to paste into here. Okay, so this is to make sure your coding can link to the Ubidot. So to make sure it links. So next, you have to give a name for the coding here. What actually you are going to do. This is a Raspberry Pi project or machine, or is it your house? So in this case, I'm using the name my laptop. Because I'm going to monitor CPU usage in my, and then you have a variable. So in this case, what is the variable for my laptop? The variable for my laptop is you have many. You can have temperature always change, or you can have memory always change. So, but in our example, I'm going to use CPU usage. So CPU usage is my variable. Because I'm going to monitor the CPU usage. Here is a cycle. This is a cycle here. Running equals to true. Running equals to true means this is always running. Why we do this? Actually, we want to read the CPU. We want every 1 second. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to monitor, you need to measure the CPU every 1 second. Okay, to do that, I do and read again and then exit, and then it will run all the other program and then come back here again and read again, and come back and read again. So that's why I create this loop here. And the second one, the next one, define payload. Okay, as you can see here, this is two value. We creating random value for sending data. This is the sending data. So memory PS util CPU is actually coming from here. Already read, right? How many percent? Read memory usage in percentage. And then we put the memory equals to PS util percentage. So it will, this one is equal to here. Suppose here the CPU usage is 30%. And then your memory use is already 30%. Then we assign here value 1 is equal to memory use. Means value 1 is equal to this. And then we also assign payload. Payload is this is the bill payload. Very good. What how much data you actually going to send? We are going to send the name of the variable. Variable one is the name. Okay, and then we want to value. We want to send the variable and send the value. These are the two things. So basically, first loop and second loop is to read the CPU, and then we develop a data header. This is a data format. Data format, we send the name of the variable, which is CPU usage, and the value of the variable, how many percent. So this is loop 1 and loop 2. Now let's go to the further loop here. Now I already create the CPU and already give the name and the value here. TP, we have two. Okay, we have first one, we have request. We send request. Okay, and then the second one, we have response. Okay, we have two items here. Second one, we have response. So basically, I'm doing the first part here, request. So what you want to, where you want to request? We are going to request from the Ubidot, the website. So you need to put in the website link here, so that it can start to do the request. So this you don't have to change, no need to change, just maintain the same. Okay, and then the headers, H author token, token because we are using token, right? We copy and paste token. So the format, author token. Token is a content type, and application is using JSON. So this you don't change, just maintain this. Okay, so it will send a request. Remember, sometimes when you run a web page, right? You click a certain web page, you receive this error 404. That means if you cannot connect, it will give error 404. So the number here 404. Okay, we are going to measure the number here. Status is more than 400. Means if you get error 404, 404 is more than 400, right? So if more than 400, it will error. It will give you this error. Error could not send data after 5 attempts. Okay, if it is okay, can connect, then it will return request made properly, your device is updated. Okay, so I try to run the program, attempting to send data. So it will use your token, now connect to Ubidot. Once when connected, then it will further post the data. Request made properly, your device is updated. Okay, so you notice here your current CPU usage is 37.7% and 43.5 and so on. This is your CPU usage. Okay, so now I go to my Ubidot page. So in the Ubidot page, let's say this is my CPU usage. You see, it is already updating. Here. You need to key in add here. You look at the button here, add button here. You key in add button. Then you have all the types of graph that you can do here. You have gauge, you have double axis, many types of graph. I just take some simple example. Maybe I just take a double axis. Okay, double axis here. So I add variable. Remember your machine name. So in the coding, I type my machine name is my laptop. So you have to look under here. Okay, so you click your laptop here. Then you have the thing that you already put in your coding there. So my focus now is the CPU usage. Okay, so I click the CPU usage, and yes, so it will add as my variable. Okay, and then the important part here, you have to set the span time when you want to start. So the time start date maybe today, start at 17th, you accept. And then the line, you have a line left axis, and you can put the name here, maybe CPU usage percentage. Okay, this is the Paxi X and Paxi Y for the graph. And this one, maybe you can put time. Okay, this is X and this is Y. X and Y. Okay, so after that, this one also I put as a percentage CPU usage. I click yes. So it will start to add here. So if you notice here, this is the current reading. You getting the current reading. So it will be updated, always updated from your coding.